Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to a delayed Crypto Maniacs podcast, and a delayed times two because last week on Thursday I didn't get one done because I suck, and Task was very busy with Hive Fest. He was quite the celebrity, so I'm looking forward to hearing news and gossip and scandal about that Task. And yeah, here I am. We're here. This is probably going to be our last Cryptomaniacs podcast in this truck, guaranteed in this truck. And I'll probably be home for the next couple of weeks, which is great because we actually have a special guest on Thursday, which is cool. So, Task, how you doing, man? How was Hive Fest, and how are you? Because I'm gonna.
I could ask you the same thing. You were right there next to me, evidently, from the photos we see.
I saw that. Yeah,
we were the Cryptomaniacs were at Hive Fest, even though you and I weren't there. So,
who did
by
that?
the way, I think they mass produced them and passed them out to the police force at the different police stations. So you and I probably aren't allowed in Mexico again.
Don't go to Mexico. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Who did that, first of all, so I can?
I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. Cal was the first one to send me a photo, and it was them on there's a bunch of them on a bus, and there was my mug in the back of the bus, sitting looking over a seat.
That's hilarious.
That was, I guess it would have been Saturday night because I got the photo Sunday morning.
Wow.
Maybe it was. Maybe I got my days wrong, but then there was a Cryptomaniacs broadcast, or Cryptoholics broadcast, excuse me, last night,
right?
And they did it live, and they were, obviously still all there, and there was a bunch of people on, and then there was not only my mug but your mug, and so there was both of us, and they kept passing the little cardboard cutouts of you and me back and forth, and putting us in pictures and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know. We'll probably at some point get an explanation who was behind it or who did it or who thought it up. And I mean, as of now, I have no idea.
Anyone who knows what was going on, please do leave a comment in the replay or even here on the live stream, because I would like to know too. The first I saw of it was Neo. Neo actually had us and I thought it was just photoshopped, and someone had us in the beach too. Metal Grow, I think, had us on the beach. I was like,
yeah, and I'm starting to see that there was other places where we were popping up. So I don't know. I mean, it's nobody mentioned it during the presentations that I know, but I didn't watch the Neo sidecast other than for Cal. So I didn't, for all I know, Cal presented on Sunday. Neo could have been screwing around with them all day Saturday for all I know. I have no idea. So I'm just as clueless as to the story and who's behind it and who came up with that idea and why they targeted us and what kind of fun was had at our expense. I'm in the dark. So
I love it. I
mean, hey, it's as they say, there's no bad publicity. So
whoever did it, lifetime upvotes from me. Dude, no, I really do. I think that's very creative, and like whoever did it, look, like Task and I wanted to be there. I couldn't. I had previous engagements, and it killed me. Trust me, all weekend it was very painful to see the updates and stuff and not being there, especially being so close to, especially in North America. But excuse me, whoever did that, just amazing. Thank you for the support, and I owe you lifetime upvotes.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings because yesterday, in fact, John, was 26 years for me without a drink.
All right.
And so, those events are always a double-edged sword. I want to be there. I want to be part of the atmosphere. But Man, there was some hardcore partying going on, and
Whoa.
there's some drinkers, and so I got to be very careful playing with fire in that regard. So
Oh,
I
dude.
tend I
I
tend
mean,
to avoid those type scenarios.
well, I was
Maybe
I
it
was
was
at my
because it
best
was
friend.
Mexico and the tequila flows like water. I don't know.
Well, I was at my best friend's wedding this weekend, and let's just say that the people in attendance drank enough for you and I in a lifetime. Uh, it
Yeah,
was it was insane.
I got my youngest cousin next October, so 13 months. He's getting married, and so that ought to be another interesting time. It's been like 10 years since I've been around the family,
Right.
and they tend to be drinkers.
Yeah. I'm not anymore. I mean, so it was. I was on duty. I was on duty to take care of everyone on Saturday night, but it all worked out. So I'm on my way home, and yeah, like I mentioned, this will be the last Cryptomaniacs in this truck, and we'll be kind of professional. So instead of hearing a truck in the background on Thursday, you get to hear screaming kids. So
Screaming kids and birds and you
yep.
know
So there you go. We're trading.
dog.
Yeah,
Can't
and
forget about the dog.
the dog. Yeah, the dog almost got hit by a truck yesterday. So there's that. But anyways, like there's a bunch of questions that people posed. But before we dive into them, dude, I'd really like to hear your overview of Hive Fest, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, just kind of like what was the big takeaways. Because dude, I'm not joking. I literally haven't checked a thing for like 4 days. I've missed like 3 days of posting, which for me is like that's not normal. So I'm so out of the loop. I'd love to hear what happened, what the news, gossip, and scandal was, and your takeaways from it.
I think the takeaways was, well, one of them was Elon's internet sucks. Evidently, the feeds kept going down, uh, and they always went down right at the presentation I wanted. Saturday was Voltec. I was looking forward to that. Nuked right in the middle of his, and then like 5 minutes before Cal was going on, nuked. Feed stopped. So um, the overall, there were two key takeaways. The first is the opportunities for people on Hive are growing incredibly. One of the most interesting presentations to me, because of my lack of knowledge about it, was Wavio. And Wavio is bringing e-commerce in a big way. And yeah, Gramps on Saturday, and then his daughter, who has set up a shop, and they're terming it social shopping or social selling or something like that. Social shopping, I think it's called. And they have the ability to set up a shop and incorporate all types of stuff from Shopify, have reviews on chain instead of Amazon having the majority of all the reviews about a product. So any product, no matter who is selling the product as an affiliate or whatever, they have access to all the reviews. So that was one key takeaway for me, is that there are a lot of opportunities starting to show up for people on Hive. They're growing. It's moving further and further away from just a, uh, write a post and get rewarded out of the reward pool type situation. So that's number one. Number two, in listening to some of the developers and some of the project leaders and stuff, it's amazing. Even if you don't have the details, these people have a vision where they want their stuff to be in 2, 3, 4 years. And Hive is going to be a lot further along in 2, 3, 4, 5 years than it is today, because there's some very dedicated people, some very talented people who have thought about this. And quite simply, the big elephant in the room to me is still the lack of a robust, flexible smart contract platform. Vaultec is hoping to have that out. Fortunately, he came on the Spaces that I was hosting. I spent probably about 11 to 12 hours running Twitter Spaces over 4 days, and he came on and he said, hopefully he'll have a test net if all goes well in about 4 months. And evidently at the Hive Fest, he showed wrapped Bitcoin on Hive, or on VSC to be specific. So there's a lot of cool stuff happening that's going to bridge us out. So um, those were my two big takeaways. That this thing's going places. There are some plans in place, and in each leg there's more opportunities for people on Hive. And quite frankly, if you're not thinking of yourself as a business, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
For me, I mean, I'm really curious. I mean, I had the people I wanted to check out. Like and I guess I'm kind of looking for spoilers here from you, because I do like. Is there recordings of this? Has there been recordings of it? Have they been uploaded? Because there's a couple of guys I'd love to check out and hear what they said.
If you go to the YouTube Hive Fest, that it should have the recordings on there, or it will. And as I said, they in years past they had one recording for each day. Now there's 4 or 5, because the first day they recorded and it stopped, so then they started the feed again. And the second day, I think they lost the internet twice, and so. But I would presume they're up on there now. On it's Hive, I think it's called Hive Fest, is the YouTube channel. But if you go to the YouTube or Hive Fest, there's a Hive Fest account on Peak D. The last post that I know of, it was a post put out just before Hive Fest. It had the links in it to the feed. So
okay, cool. Looking forward to the next couple of days diving into that stuff. Do you want to get into people's questions here?
Sure.
Yeah, let's get into it. And don't worry, folks, I have made it dimmed just for you, because no one likes daylights except for me and Task. So we have it dimmed for you guys. Are you enjoying Hive Fest? From Eric? Yes, we are. I'm just saying that just because we just talked about it. So yeah. TM, I'm lost. Can you please find me already? Hope Stylist is lost. Task. Can you find her already?
I don't have a beacon device, so I don't know where she's lost. Is it a she? I don't know where she is.
Yeah, looks like a she. Hope
so I don't know where she is. It's somebody send out a distress signal.
Yes, SOS. There's free compliments with the Here's Johnny picture. Yes, that's perfect. Yeah, that's literally what I was like. Before we got on air, I was telling Task I was properly set up for the show to start on time. I was in the truck stop, ready to go, had the computer, and then the internet, like my cell signal, just literally died, and it was like awful. It was like 3G edge like connection, like that's how bad it was. So I told Task, I said I had to drive about 30 miles east. So I did that, and I set up here, and it's good to go now. So yes, that's literally what I felt like about an hour ago, trying to figure out my interwebs. Free compliments. So Hope Stylist says, since I don't have any questions, I'm just here to learn, asked by others. So has the show started? Yes. Is anyone going to link to the show? Yes, John Timms, we do. It's on YouTube. Meanwhile, we need an official. I'm reading these newest to oldest. Maybe I should do oldest.
Yeah, you probably should go to the bottom. Or
yeah. Okay, let's do that. Here we go. Hi there, Sunseeker. Today is the premiere of the Free Chain movie. It showed to the world. If showed to the world, since it narrates our story, you think other projects will see Hive different? Oh, geez. I mean, that reminds me of that talk when we had episode 250 with Task with They Call Me Dan and Starkers. I mean, will people see Hive differently? I don't think so. I mean, it's not like a secret of how we came to be, but I would hope it does. I would hope others see Hive in a different light, but it's the not being on Ethereum, not having the smart contracts, not being a top 10 token, all the hype for whatever reason. We have some of the best things anywhere, the best apps, best
Yeah,
tools.
we do, but we have no successes. That's what we don't have, and that's where projects are making a mistake. You got to go for the successes and then market your successes.
Right.
And get some stuff in the bag. And unfortunately, to me, it seems like everybody's trying to hit the home runs instead of hitting singles, and getting some things going and saying, "Look at what we have." Even if it's small, look at what we have.
Yeah, well, that's an analogy I've always used in business. Is like you don't need to hit home runs. You literally just bunt singles, get people home too. I mean, you just got to
Yeah,
keep.
I mean, it's just start with the little things and do it very well, and then promote that. But
Yep.
we have people who are taking a different approach.
She follows that up with, do other blockchains have similar stories to ours? I've known about side chains and other practical forks looking for new features, but not much more. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like the Hive story. I mean, literally, we forked and the community said, "Not so fast, Buttercup." Um, you know, sure, there's forks like the Bitcoin Cash stuff and the Ethereum Classic and all that, but that was nothing like the takeover that happened on Steam. And I think that's what makes Hive unique. It's part of our DNA. It'll always be in history. I mean, that block will forever go down in history as the block that created Hive. I mean, I don't know of any other stories like this blockchain.
No, most of them are either insiders pissed off, like Roger Veer got pissed off and they didn't get his way, so they up and left. But no, not where you have an outside attack taking over and the community says, "Okay, you won. You keep the chain. We're leaving." There's been nothing like that.
Yeah, it's what makes Hive very unique in that aspect, but it still needs some of those singles and home runs every now and again. Everyone was freaking out about HBD going to 88 cents, but it's 98 again. First of all, I did not know it went to 88, and it's the stable-ish coin, not a stable coin. Do you think it can go too long without stabilizing again, or the algorithm will fix it
Well,
fairly fast?
first off, go try buying it at 88 cents. You could. That's the bullshit read on CoinGecko that people go by. Go to the internal market and try to buy it for 88 cents. Good luck. Go into the PHBD or BHBD liquidity pools that Leo Finance has set up and try buying it for that. Good luck. They get their feeds off these centralized exchanges, which basically are Upbit and Bittrex, I think, are the only two with them on it. And Bittrex has like 3 HBD on there. So, no, I don't put anything in that because when people are sitting there freaking out, it's like, okay, go buy it. Tell me where you can get it for that. You can't. And the biggest problem with HBD, as I've said time and time again, is as you get more liquidity out there, you get less volatility. As you get more utility, you get more volatility. So we just need to keep building.
Yep. Very good. Stikeni says, I am trying to get an image of blockchains which are kind of similar as Hive, mainly in regards to the blogging on chain aspect. If you had to choose the one most similar, what would it be?
Well, the only one that's like it, but I wouldn't say it's very similar anymore, is Steam, where we forked from. But you see, you want to talk about the blogging. Nobody natively stores text like Hive without a smart contract. So Ethereum and the Ethereum forks can do something similar, but they utilize smart contracts. I believe so does Cardano. And each of those has obviously transaction fees associated with it. So that's why you don't find blogging and stuff like that on these different chains. I mean, unless it was a fork of the original Steam code, which there's been a number of them. What was that one for
Whale
sport?
shares.
What? No,
Whale.
not whale shares. After that,
I know what you're talking about. I forget.
you
Yep.
can't think of it
Yep.
either.
Yeah. It was right
Uh,
around whale shares. Like it was
yeah, it
around
was
that time. Yeah.
somewhere in there. They just don't have the technology for it. So that's what really makes Hive unique. It is a decentralized text database
Yeah.
natively.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, the only thing that's similar because it was forked from it would be Steam, but Steam isn't very decentralized.
No, it's not decentralized, and we've made major upgrades since the fork.
Yeah. Yep. True. True. Free compliments, a sense of community, and a feeling of intrinsic value are essential in long-term retentions of users. Are there any other communities outside of Leo Finance where you've seen this occur so far?
Well, I got a big lesson spending it on Spaces for 12 hours. I'll tell you what, the Cuban community and the Venezuelan community are very tightly knit, and they're not a digital community per se like Leo. They're actually a geographic, real world, physical community. But the, the the cohesiveness, the pride, the unity that they all feel, it's pretty amazing. So I would say that you watch those areas, and the Nigerians, from what I can see, they're big in number. I don't know how separated they are throughout their country. I don't get the same sense that they're geographically in contact with each other physically, like the Cubans, like the Venezuelans. Jon Snow. I mean, he was on the show a couple of times, and we were talking to him. He knows Amundo. He knows some of these other people. He may even know Sun Seco is going to be on Thursday's show. He may know him in person. I don't get the same sense with the Nigerians that a lot of them know each other in that manner. Um, so maybe they're spread out more throughout the country. But the Nigerians also do have a lot of pride and cohesion, but they seem a little bit more uh, disorganized as opposed to the Cubans and Venezuelans, who appear to have a little bit more organization.
And on a an app and community side of things, you can't ignore something like, even though they don't really talk about it, Splinterlands could be considered a community on Hive, but it's not really on Hive community based type stuff, if that makes sense. But they are, if that I just contradicted myself 3 times there. Did you see that? But
That was impressive.
yeah, not bad, huh? Pretty good. My mom said I'd be something when I grew up. Kenny, again, not sure if I could get an answer here. If not, sorry for asking. Are there initiatives to onboard whole communities in one go on Hive and Leo Finance that have worked in the past? If so, well, I know Eric and Nomad Soul was trying to do that with some other crypto communities. I don't know how successful it was, if it took off or not, but I know that there has been initiatives. I can't think of anything off the top of my mind where like hundreds, if not thousands, of people all came into Hive in one go. Um, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. He had some. I mean, there's a threadcast that'll be taking place. I think it may be overlapping with us. He's done real well penetrating, and threaders have done real well. Bread has a NFT spaces, and Eric started to bring Leo over a couple weeks ago, and I mean he normally had like 50 people in the spaces. With Leo, he ended up with like 200 or 300, and we also did Threadcast, and I think Eric sent it to him, and he's now joined Threads, and he put a post up earlier. So, um, there's one of the people who hosts the spaces. It's again, it's we need some successes, and the first one's always the hardest one, but we don't promote our successes. We promote a lot of bullshit. And it's like, as I've always said, what if we had a threadcast with, you know, 5,000 comments in it? And that's what you show these thread spaces, these spaces, people. But we don't have that. I mean, the best we've done is our own internal stuff is like, 1,500, and most times we can't get over 400 or 500. That's what it comes down to. If you could do something in relation to a show or relation to something and get like 5,000 comments in and say, see, this is what we regularly do, these people be apt to listen. You show them 300, it's like, who cares?
Yeah, that's a good point. Pray that one of these takes off for sure. Free compliments, on the other hand, there's also been a slow exodus of some longtime users who happen to be targeted by a small group of whales who issue downvotes, sometimes for differences of opinion. Are there any strategies to tackle this issue?
Yeah, fucking stop tripping over mouse turds. In the long run, I'm just so fucking fried with this. And I sit here and say, and John will tell you, I've had my account nuked by some of the biggest whales we've seen. Bernie went through and nuked me for, a while. Then I had the Koreans nuking me. I've been nuked for months, on end by one curation trail. But nobody nukes you're Leo.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is part of the success. It's like everybody focuses on Hive, the coin. And I don't diminish the importance of it. But if you're going to leave because of that, you're an asshole. I really mean that. And if you don't believe me, go watch Graham's daughter. She presented Sunday morning with her cosmetic shop that she has.
Right.
And look at what she created. That's an opportunity for everybody on Hive, right up your alley, John. Go affiliate marketing, drop ship marketing, all that type of stuff. You can do that right now on Waveview, and you can incorporate stuff from Shopify. You can set up a business, and that has nothing to do with upvotes or downvotes or anything like that. What Vaultek's talking about with NFT and fungible token creation and HBD staking and eventually exchanges and DeFi applications. Again, this has nothing to do with, somebody downvoted my, post. You go through and go on threads. People don't downvote threads, and people are making, they're not making thousands of dollars off of it, but all of a sudden people are making a hive here, a hive there. It all adds up over time, and it's just we've been arguing about this for 7 years. So is there an answer? No. Or maybe I'll say this: yes, there is an answer. Focus on the layer 2 tokens. Focus on layer 2 tokens where the whales aren't the same whales as on Hive, because I guarantee you there's not a single whale on Hive, a single whale based upon one's high power, who's a whale in Leo. They're not. They don't exist. Well, yeah, I don't even think one alpha, he's not a whale in Leo. I mean, a whale in Hive. I mean, he's got a decent amount of Hive, but I don't think he's a whale.
You'd be the closest thing, like Hive and Leo.
Yeah, I might be. I mean, it's I don't know what.
But the point is that you're not going around downvoting people on Leo.
No, it's not, and I also have my Hive spread over a couple of different accounts, so right. I'm not even voting the same with the same voting power in anything anyway. So you go where the whales are different, and I'm not saying that I defend the whales in this regard. We don't. Nobody likes when they dump. Everybody whines when whales dump. So you want them as the hodlers of last resort. But I'm not going to say that all of them are nice people. I mean, some of the whales are just first class jackasses. I mean, there's no two ways about it. They're jerks. They are. And they, if you probably met them in person, you'd punch them in the face. I mean, they're jerks. But that's the way they are. So, again, if you're here just because, oh, I want to get my rewards, I put together, John, I put together a number of videos, Task Guide to Success. And the first thing is, if you're doing anything for money, you're done. No great success is do it for the money. Why? Because two reasons. One, either you don't get the money, so you quit, or two, you get the money and it stops being a motivator. You think Elon Musk is doing what Elon Musk is doing to add even 25 billion or 50 billion to his net worth?
Right.
No, the guy's worth 250 billion. What's the difference? Do you think Bezos worked all those years after he had his first, few hundred million? No, it becomes irrelevant. You think Block Trades is doing what Block Trades does so he can get, I mean, the guy's said on this show, he achieved, he got more money than he ever thought he would have. But he still is going. I mean, he was at High Fest. He was presented. He's still on the developer call every 2 weeks or whenever they do that. He's still the major driver behind the core development. And most of that's coming out of his pockets because he doesn't even submit funding to the DHF.
Right.
And yet he's still here all the time. You think They Call Me Dan needs to do this? You think Starkers needs to do this? No. But they're driven by more than money. And that's the point I want to, you got to get that through your head. Stop letting these obstacles stop you. It really comes down to that. And yes, there could be some people who have nefarious intentions. There could be some people who, are just first class jerks. If you let them stop you, who's getting screwed over there? You're the one leaving the opportunity. Where are you going to go from here? We just had 3 questions about what other blockchains are like this. We both come to the conclusion, none. Yeah. So what are you going to do? You're going to run back to Web 2? You're going to hope Elon gives you a little bit of the ad revenue? You hope Reddit gives you a little bit of the ad revenue? Or are you going to work around it? That's just what you got to do. And focus on the layer 2. Try to get a big stake of Leo. I mean, what happens if Leo becomes worth 30 cents?
Yeah.
Well, if you have 20,000 Leo, you're a happy camper.
It's funny you mention that because it's something I've said over the years when it comes to building businesses online. Like the guarantee in building businesses online is there's peaks and valleys. It's a roller coaster, and you've really got to strap in and enjoy the ride because you can't get too high and you can't get too low. So if you create a post that gets heavily rewarded, don't think that's a normal thing. Don't think that's going to happen every day. If you get downvoted, don't think that's going to happen every day. Don't think that's the norm. You've literally got to almost be stoic about it. Just like you said, like just worry about creating, worry about building what you're doing, and everything else, just ride with it. And if that's the mentality, you'll get down votes, you'll get up votes. It's like, meh, whatever. I'm not sitting here going, oh, you know what? What's crazy? I didn't do my Hive goals this week. It's the first time ever that I've missed a week of my Hive goals. So I suck. But the point, one of the things I always do in that is I say I want to get 100 Hive per day. That's my goal. Is it because Hive is 30 cents right now? No, I'm not worried about that. I'm not going to make a living off of 30-cent Hive. I'm not even going to make a living off of 80-cent Hive. I'm not here for that. I'm here for long term. So I'm not worried about the day to day. I've got the seatbelt on. I'm enjoying the ride. There's going to be ups and downs. Anyways, that's how I approach it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, neither of us care about the price of Hive. It's like with me and Tesla. It's in a retirement account. I can't touch it till 2029. What do I give a shit if Tesla goes down to $200 or if it goes up to $400? I still can't touch it.
Yeah.
And I plan to still have it when I retire, when I can access my retirement account. And I figure it'll be a lot higher. But could it go from wherever it is now, 250 down to 100? It could happen. I mean,
Sure.
I don't know. Um, and it's the same thing with my hive. It's like, it's all powered up. I'm not selling it anyway. It take me 13 weeks to power it down to begin with. So obviously it's a long-term plan for me. And that's why I keep saying it's the opportunities. And that you asked me to give you a synopsis of the weekend. That's why I started off with there are more opportunities showing up on Hive and more ways to make money than we can even dream. And John, you and I have been around long enough. When we started, there was Steam and Steam back dollar. And nobody even knew what the hell the Steam back dollar was because it was not paid attention to at all. And that was it. You got no layer two tokens. There were no splinter lands. There were no NFTs. There were no income tokens. There were no investment projects or anything like that. There was nothing. There was Steam, powered up, and curing.
Oh,
And
dude, don't forget. Yeah, you like Steam powered up Steam was another thing that we could do. That it took me a good 3 or 4 weeks to figure that one out too. So don't forget Steam power.
And if you asked a question, I mean, you were just throwing toilet paper in the abyss. I mean, it was like no answers, no information. And that's how it was. Back when we had to walk 3 miles to school uphill both ways in 3 feet of snow. But that's what it was. And it was like a year and a half later, maybe Hive Engine showed up. So we started getting some layer 2 tokens. And, well, okay, we got these. What do we do with them? And, well, you can't really do anything with them, but at least we were getting them. And there's just more stuff showing up. And I think this will just go in overdrive once you get these smart contract platforms out and that starts going. But, even what Matt and Dan are into with this proof of access, and, you can set up and basically turn your hard drive into an Airbnb and rent out some of your hard drive space for open hosting videos. And they pay out, from what I understand, I think they pay out in Hive. So, I mean, there's another way where go search around with Speak Network, find the proof of access videos, how you set it up, and you probably could get some Hive coming each day if you take part of your hard drive and host videos. Will it make you rich? No, but I mean, it'll help offset some of those downfalls. I mean, these are just things that you need to look at what else is going on. And the other thing I learned from Hive Fest, there's a lot more going on. It didn't learn. It was a reaffirmation. A lot more going on than any of us can follow. So if you keep looking around and keep digging around, there will be opportunities. And there are going to be opportunities John and I have no idea about.
Yeah.
But they're there.
If a man has a lot of Leo power, is there a positive or negative correlation to the size of his lion? And that's from Free Compliments.
I don't know. Mine hasn't grown or shrunk in correlation to my account, so I don't know if there is a correlation there, but
Yeah.
I mean, I keep watching for it to grow, but I've been doing that for 40 years. So anyway,
Jeez. John Timms, friend of the show. There's some talk about reducing the number of witnesses from 20 to 4. I find this completely unacceptable as it would make Hive way too centralized. Am I wrong in thinking this? I have not heard this.
I haven't heard it either, but no, I don't think the thinking's wrong. I agree 1,000%. That's asinine.
Yeah, that's stupidity.
I haven't heard any of that.
Yeah, I think that's insane. 20 is fine. 20 plus 1 is great. On the topic of artificial intelligence, is Leo Power holding associated with artificial intelligence or real intelligence? A relevant follow-up. are Nifty's foot size and scent associated with his Leo Power Holdings. Well, Free Compliments is full of good stuff.
Yeah,
Wholesome stuff.
Nifty kicked off on Cryptoholics. He kicked off Leo fans with he did show his feet. So I can't speak to the scent since I was watching it online. So I
Smell-o-vision is coming. I know it will. It will.
remember that was the old adage when email came out. When fart mail.
When fart mail. I love it. John Timms, the questions that we're all wanting to know, and he hopes Cal is listening, because when is rebrand happening? When ad revenue report? I'm going to ask this every show until I get an answer that isn't.
Well, and I did reply to that. The answer is I don't know.
Craziness.
That's Cal's category. No idea. Although he did say, I think he said it in the interview with Krim in Neo's room. Um, their goal is to have it 2 weeks. They narrowed it down to three choices, from what he was saying, and so there's three different options as to what the name will be, what the rebrand is. But you got to remember, funny thing is people blasted Elon for the X, especially how he announced it. Like he sent out a tweet like at midnight and said, "Oh, by the way, tomorrow it'll be no longer Twitter, it'll be X." And everybody said, "Oh, that's stupid and that's dumb." And it's, where are we a month and a half later? And it's like nobody cares about the name because rebrand is all about that other stuff that surrounds it. And you know this, John. The name is really secondary. I mean, unless you do something that's really just turns people off. It's everything else. And too many people get caught up on the name, both good and bad. And they sit there and say, they sit there looking for the perfect name. And it's like, just name it something and get on with your marketing, get on with your branding, get on with what you're doing. Who gives a shit about the name? I mean, it's, it has a certain degree of importance, but you got to get onto the color scheme. You got to get onto the layout of your website. You got to get onto what your tagline is, what your focus is, what your niche, how you start your marketing campaign, all of that stuff. I mean, that's all part of your rebrand.
Yep. Completely agree. It's what is behind it that matters. Michael Klein, this guy is an interesting individual. He says, has CTBX developed a product service which can be purchased with the CTB token? Admittedly, I could be late and already released product service. I have been distracted on the Wax blockchain recently. So Michael has been basically putting out there that he's selling all his CTP and selling all his Leo. And I think he's selling his Hive too. Why do you... I don't know, but no. Look, we've had CTP token, even though you should be using HBD, right, Task? We've had that ability on Hive Pay for 4 years now or something. No one cared. No one used it. We had the basically copy and paste code that you would find in PayPal in Hive Pay. No one used it. Is it our fault? Probably that we didn't promote it enough, but it was there. The product was built. The service was there. We built that already. It's been there. It's been there for 4 years plus. You can still use CTP to buy things in our products and services. We prefer you use HBD because Task, I don't know if you know this, but 99% of the customers we have still just use PayPal. They don't even use HBD, even though the ability is there for them to use HBD.
It doesn't surprise me. That speaks to everything we talk about. I don't care whether it's financial. I don't care whether it's social media. How do we get people from Twitter? How do we get people from Web 2, Web 3? The bottom line is human beings tend not to like change. Yep. And they don't change very easily. And this is why YouTube is YouTube. This is why Facebook still has like over 2.5 billion people, even though Mark Zuckerberg is probably one of the biggest scumbags out there. This is why people still use the banks, regardless of, and they use the same bank even when the bank screwed them over. They just keep going back, and it's like people don't like change, and it's amazing to me how I remember this in sales. It's like I would go down and meet with the prospect, and obviously, when they're with another with the competitor, it's like, okay, why are you meeting with me? What did you? Well, the other company did this, that, and they screwed up the billing. And they overcharged us $600, and this, that, and I'm pissed off at them, and they give you a list of what the other company did that screwed it up. And then you get a call and say, oh, well, we decided to go back with them. It's like you told me how they did everything but kill your firstborn, and you're going back with them. That's just,
Yep.
That's the mindset of people.
John Chip's got a couple here. Is the Hollywood strike still going on? Did anyone even notice? Didn't notice, don't care. Hollywood can honk on Bobo. Don't care about them. But here's a really good question for you specifically, Tass. How long do you think the auto strike will last? Before you touch that, though, I got to say, one of the best parts about driving a truck is that I'm oblivious to everything. Completely oblivious. If it's not sports news, I'm oblivious to it. I didn't even know. My mom's like, oh, there's an auto strike going on. I'm like, oh, they still have those? So yeah, Task, how long is the auto strike going to be? I didn't even know there was an auto strike because I'm a very ignorant person in my own little bubble. And
I think that the question is, will the auto strike end before the Broncos win a game? And after being hung up for 70 points, the Broncos should just mail in the season and say, we're not playing. Here's the semi-pro team. How the fuck do you give up 70 points in the NFL?
Dude.
But anyway, I digress. I have no idea. The Hollywood strike, answering that, I think the writers supposedly were close to settling. No word on the actors. The UAW, no idea. They actually escalated things on Friday and targeted a few more plants. So they're spreading. The UAW is real interesting because they're striking against Stellantis, Ford, and GM all at the same time, but they went after targeted plants. So they're taking a little different strategy so their fund doesn't get sucked down real quick by supporting the strikers. But basically, I mean, Biden was out there walking the picket line with the UAW today or yesterday. And, what they're asking is, as I've said in my videos, Legacy Auto's in a lot of trouble. And if they give these raises, even the ones that they've offered, like I think Stellantis 17%, GM and Ford offered 20%, and they were turned down by the union. I mean, even then, all this is going to do is accelerate the decline because they can't keep up with Tesla and the Chinese. I mean, they're hoping ICE stays around a long time, and ICE isn't going to disappear tomorrow. But I'll tell you what, I mean, I think it's coming quicker than people think, the transition to EVs.
That's so funny. That was one of the greatest documentaries I ever watched. It's probably about 15 years old now. Who killed the electric car? But yeah. It looks like, it's coming back. It's interesting, like it's funny you mentioned that because it's something I noticed in the States. You notice it. You notice the Tesla charging stations. You notice it everywhere. Everywhere you go, it's everywhere in America. But I drove across Canada coming back west the past 3 days. There's Tesla charging stations in the middle of nowhere, northern Ontario. Like I'm talking like population 100. And there's a little tiny country gas station in the middle of a forest with bears and moose everywhere. And my goodness, there's the Tesla the charging stations right there. You're right, man. I think it's infrastructure and they've got it and they're just going to keep building it. Just like he does with those Starlink satellites, he's just going to keep building the infrastructure, kind of like what we should be doing here on Hive, just building the infrastructure because once it takes off.
Yeah, and, that's one thing I was excited about where Vaultec got to. That's when things accelerate once the infrastructure is in place, and then the next level of developer, in the digital world can come and add to this. the important thing with everything is with technology, and I went back to the 1860s. And what happens, technological progress is consistent, but technological progress in terms of its impact on society appears to go in about 20-year cycles. And so there were people talking just before COVID, so late 2019, early 2020. And they're saying, things really hadn't changed since 2000. And they were right. Other than mobile, there really wasn't any major significant alterations to how business was done and how we socialized. Yes, you have social media that changed things, streaming changed things, but those are fringe things and more evolutionary. Obviously, since 2000, computing power has accelerated, Wi-Fi got better, cell phones got better, all of that shit. But other than mobile, which wasn't new technology, that was convergence of three technologies in one. Well, actually more than that, but three major: mobile, internet, and compute all put together. But if we go back to 2000, and you were sitting in 2000, nobody with half a brain would say, nothing's changed since 1980. Because in those 2 decades, we got in-home gaming, we got the personal computer, we got the internet, we got digital camera, we got the VCR, then we got the DVD player, we got the CD player. We got a whole assortment of technologies that we got the photocopier, we got the personal computer and the printer. I mean, the fax machine. Yeah, they came out of the world, but yeah, you could say the fax machine. You moved over from telex. So that was a major change in how we conducted ourselves at work and how we engaged in society. Now the 60s and 70s were a downtime. The 40s and the 50s were a huge time. Guess what we're in now? We are in this period of disruption. So when you start to look at things such as the automobile sector, that's being disrupted. When you look at broadcast television, that's being disrupted. The cable news being disrupted. Late night television is being disrupted. Fintech is going to do a number on an advanced fintech and probably crypto, but we're seeing finance being disrupted. Energy, we don't know really where it's going to go, but that's going to be disrupted. We're seeing a whole lot of things being disrupted, and potentially with robots and artificial intelligence, we could see labor disrupted. I mean, already with all these chat GPTs and Bing's version and Google's version and Amazon is buying out Claude. Search is already changing. I mean, even in Bing, you go over one tab, and in Bing now you can enter in your prompts instead of saying, what is, I don't know, what is Kenworth, and you get Kenworth.com, and you get, all these different things about Kenworth trucks. You type that in, Bing will write you up a ChatGPT type answer. Oh, Kenworth is a U.S. trucking manufacturer that's been around for 62 years, blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's totally changed search just in the last, 18 months? Not even 18 months, 12 months. So that's the era we're in. And if you expect things to stay the same, you're in trouble. And that's the same thing on Hive. If you expect everything to stay the same and you're not looking at Hive based upon the opportunities, I think you're missing the whole ball of wax, because you go somewhere else, that somewhere else, like maybe your job, might not be there in 2 or 3 years.
That's a great point, man. Dude, great episode. And it's good to be back, even though I screwed up on Thursday. So we'll be back, though. This week, we've got a special guest. Sunseeker is coming in front of the show. It'll be good to see her and hear how she's doing and what she's got going on as well. Task, have a fantastic few days, man. I get to rage quit with my company and drop the truck off tomorrow. So that'll be fun.
You're gonna like have your phone playing the audio, just record the audio in the background and post it.
Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah.
Might be some lawsuit there.
Maybe.
Probably a law or two being broken.
Yeah. No, I'll keep it very PC.
Ciao.
Have a good night, guys. Later.